Sit down. It's my great pleasure on behalf of the university to welcome you here on a beautiful day to the splendid surroundings of the Whitworth Hall for this graduation ceremony. First of all, many congratulations to all of our graduates on the achievements that we're celebrating today. Congratulations. And a warm welcome to your family and friends who are joining you to celebrate this occasion. We know that you will be at least as proud as we are about the achievements of today's graduates, and that our graduates will be grateful for all the support and encouragement you've given them. During the course of your studies at the University of Manchester, all of you graduating today will have gained skills, experiences and knowledge to help you find success in future years in both your personal and professional lives. Your achievement in completing your degree says a lot about your ability and commitment, and it's a strong platform to build your career and achieve your future goals. We hope that the balance you've had to handle between academic study and other interests and the fun a great city like Manchester can offer will help you find a good work-life balance as your career and your future unfolds. And importantly, we hope that you'll nurture the friendships and relationships you've forged here. Manchester is amongst the finest universities in Europe and worldwide, and that depends in part on our commitment to buildings, infrastructure, and facilities of the highest standards. But fundamentally, it's about outstanding and excellent people, our students and our staff, who have made contributions which really have changed the lives of people worldwide for many, many years. During your studies, each of you have already contributed to the university, and we hope that you'll continue to do so and stay in touch via our Alumni Association, which links you with a community of more than 250,000 Manchester graduates across the globe. Your Manchester degree and your experience give you every reason to be positive about the future, not least because of the job prospects it opens up. Obtaining your degree is an important milestone, and you should relish your success. But I hope that this is just the beginning of your journey and of your association with Manchester and the university. We sincerely hope that this will not be your last contact with the university, and remember, our doors will always be open to you. It gives me particular pleasure during this graduation ceremony to welcome back one of our previous students, Dr. Catherine O'Keefe, who is a pioneer in the care of those who've suffered from AIDS and HIV. It's a great privilege to have Catherine with us today, and we're delighted to have the opportunity to honour her with the Outstanding Alumni Award during this ceremony. And I'm now going to ask Professor Anne Wakefield to present the Outstanding Alumni Award.
Vice President and Dean, ladies and gentlemen, graduands. Dr. Catherine O'Keefe is without doubt an outstanding member of our illustrious university. As a triple graduate of Manchester, she first gained her Bachelor of Nursing degree with distinction here in 1985, followed by her MEd in 1993, and finally her MPhil in Education in 2005. Following her graduation and registration as a nurse, Catherine worked as a staff nurse and latterly as a health visitor in various locations across the northwest of England. In addition to holding these UK-based posts between 1987 and 1989, she also spent time working in hospice environments caring for people with HIV and AIDS in Honduras and Guatemala. Furthermore, Catherine's work with HIV and AIDS patients commenced in earnest following her move to Thailand in 1994, although it wasn't until 1997 that she started to make a profound difference to those living with HIV when she took up her post with Mildmay International, a pioneering HIV charity with its headquarters in London, committed to delivering quality care, treatment, rehabilitation and education to those people living with HIV and AIDS in the UK, Eastern Europe and Sub-Saharan Africa. On joining Mildmay, Catherine initially worked as Head of International Training for Sub-Saharan Africa, later becoming its Executive Director of Education in 2001, and finally Director of Programmes in 2008. Thus, it was in 1997 that she was able to see at first hand the plight of those suffering from HIV and AIDS in a region of the world where resources were scarce and fear, stigma and marginalisation rife. Catherine is therefore undeniably an outstanding ambassador both for our university and the nursing profession. But what you do not know is that she is also an ambassador for those persons who've been affected by HIV and AIDS. In fact, it is for Catherine's selfless work with the latter group of people that the university is bestowing the Outstanding Alumni Award on her today. But before the award is presented, I would like to take this opportunity to share with you a little more of her story, particularly in relation to her work with those suffering from HIV. As a relatively modern disease, HIV first became recognised as a discrete disease entity in the late 1980s. At that time, the prognosis for people living with HIV was extremely poor, especially for those inhabiting sub-Saharan Africa, given that fear and discrimination abounded. As a consequence, patients often died in pain and distress, with very little help or health care available to them. Undaunted by what she saw and experienced on a daily basis, Catherine had a vision of what care and life could be like for those situated at the margins of society, which was very different from that she had encountered on her arrival in Africa. Thus, in 1998, her vision for home-based care for those living with HIV and AIDS in the worst affected area of Kenya, Nyanza, a rural location with a hard-to-reach population in the most deprived province, started to take shape. At that time, antiretroviral medication was unavailable, and people were only admitted to hospital in extremis. Care was minimal and disjointed, hospitals overcrowded and understaffed, with people frequently dying in transit. There was little understanding about HIV and AIDS, and even less about how to care for people at home. Given that stigma was rife and endemic, HIV sufferers were frequently rejected, not only by their communities, but their families. Visiting these communities, Catherine quickly realised that something urgently needed to be done. Hence, she developed a highly innovative model of home-based care for people living with HIV and AIDS, the Nyanza model of home-based care. This approach to caring for HIV and AIDS patients adopted a whole systems approach to the problem. Consequently, as part of this work, Catherine developed a series of training programs to skill both local communities and the professionals serving them. She worked with local people on multiple levels to develop community-based organisations, providing nursing care, nutritional and psychological support, subsistence farming, economic generating activities, and education to help people with HIV and AIDS. Those who were dying were able to be cared for at home for the first time, reducing stigma, admissions to hospital, and lastly, increasing the adherence to antiretroviral medications. Building on the success of the Nyanza model, Mildmay Tanzania established a similar home-based model of care for rural communities around Kilimanjaro and Tabora. To support the development of this home-based care model, Catherine also generated a number of educational initiatives ranging from basic training for local people caring for members of their community, right up to diploma and degree level programs for those responsible for healthcare systems planning and management. The diploma and degree programs are validated by our own university, of which we are immensely proud. In addition, Catherine also worked with Kenya Medical Training College to ensure medical staff were similarly trained in the most up-to-date methods of caring for people living with HIV. These education programmes are now self-supporting and managed by local people, which is testament to Catherine's ability to motivate and empower others to become self-governing and self-managing with respect to an illness which had, until she became involved, devastated whole communities. As a consequence of the Nyanza model of care, the lives of those people living with HIV have been transformed because many ordinary people have been trained to provide basic health care and social support to those living in the remotest parts of Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, enabling them to receive the care they need in their local communities. Each of the home-based care projects Catherine has spearheaded has also played a vital role not only in empowering women, but giving them a voice, many of whom now lead projects and volunteer to care for people within their communities. Perhaps even more remarkable when you consider where the project began, amidst fear, distress and stigma, the Ministry of Health in Kenya have further recognised the importance of this innovative model of care and recommended that it should not only be rolled out nationally, but adopted for use in prisons throughout Kenya. Thus, as people's understanding of HIV and its treatments have improved, such that they now focus on the whole person within their community, HIV is now considered a chronic health condition, which, if treatment can be accessed, means that people living with HIV have a normal life expectancy. Although stigma still exists, it is not manifest to the same degree as it was in the 1980s and 90s, representing a significant shift in the mindset of people caring for, working with, and living among those contracting the disease. Although Catherine no longer directly is involved with Mildmay, given that since completing her doctorate in education in 2010, she has taken up a new challenge working as a senior lecturer in clinical education at the Institute of Education in London. She is now working with the newly established local education and training boards to strengthen multi-professional learning in clinical practice in the UK. Yet despite having left Mildmay, Catherine still maintains her links with Africa and continues to be inspired by the resilience, courage and innovative spirit of those she has cared for, worked with and during her illustrious career. Although she is no longer there in body, her heart still walks alongside those she has encountered on her professional journey across the globe. Therefore, Vice President and Dean, it is with great pleasure that I present to you for the Award of Outstanding Alumna, Dr. Catherine O'Keefe.
Congratulations, Catherine. Good to see you.
Vice President and Dean, ladies and gentlemen, graduands, I'm delighted to be here and honoured to receive this award. It was most unexpected and a very pleasant surprise. Thank you. Hearing Anne talk about my career reminds me of why I decided to come into nursing, as after hearing a talk about the developing world in sixth form, I decided that I wanted to do something to help. I thought that by becoming a nurse, I would have something practical to offer if I went to work in developing countries. Also, if I'm honest, I'd always wanted to travel and thought that being a nurse would help me to do that. A careers advisor suggested the degree in nursing at Manchester to me, a course I thoroughly enjoyed. But little did I realise at the time how invaluable the degree would be for my future work, with its focus on both the academic and practical sides of nursing, and particularly its orientation to community and primary health care. Not long after qualifying, I went to work in Honduras for a charity where I first became involved in caring for people with HIV. At that time, in the late 80s, there was limited understanding of HIV and AIDS, and of course, very little in terms of medical treatment to alleviate symptoms or opportunistic infections. The best response then we could provide was to set up a hospice for terminal care. The patients we cared for were mainly male and female sex workers, many of whom had been forced into sex work due to poverty. Their involvement in this trade often resulted in them being rejected and marginalised by their families and communities. When they were found to be HIV positive or diagnosed with AIDS, they often had nowhere else to turn to for support. We tried our best to enable them to feel welcome and valued while they stayed with us, and to provide the highest standard of medical care and nursing care available at the time so that they could have a dignified death. When I look back at those times, I remember how often I felt overwhelmed by the situation, but also my increasing realization that to be able to address the problem I encountered meant thinking differently about how we provide care in such circumstances. Returning to Manchester to study for my Masters in Education for Primary Health Care helped me to reflect on theories of education and community empowerment that I was then later able to apply, particularly in Kenya, to developing practical approaches to working with communities struggling to cope with the impact of the epidemic, but also to strengthen healthcare systems and educating professionals responsible for providing care. At that time, I made contact with the Department of Nursing here to ask for their help in designing Malmö's diploma and degree programme. From the very first contact, their support has been tremendous, and there is every reason for the university to be truly proud of the School of Nursing and Midwifery and Social Work's contribution to Malmö's work in Kenya and East Africa, which has made such a significant difference to the lives of so many patients, their families and communities. As my work began to focus more on educating healthcare professionals so that they could independently lead the way to improving services, I became much more aware that many were themselves living with HIV, yet not accessing treatment due to stigma. My MPhil research degree at Manchester helped me to begin to understand the tensions and dilemmas that we as nurses may face when our personal and professional lives bring us into close contact with challenging health issues in the communities where we live and work. This understanding helped to ensure that the programmes Malmö developed recognise the importance of caring for, supporting and developing staff, as well as providing services to those in need. Finally, as a closing thought for those of you that are graduating today, I hope that hearing of my experiences encourages you, wherever your career may take you, to make the most of the opportunities not only to help patients, but also to accompany and learn from those in need, as well as valuing your own contribution and that of colleagues to the incredibly important work that nursing entails. All that remains is to offer you my warmest congratulations and wish you all the very best in your careers. Thank you.
Graduands, I am delighted to be sharing this special day with you. You are crossing a threshold from one phase of life to another, and at moments like this, it's worth standing back to look at the big picture. Each of you have your own special circumstances, but the one thing you share, and I share with you, is that you've chosen to study and to practice in the professions of nursing, midwifery, or social work. Let me briefly share with you my experiences leading up to and following my own graduation here over 35 years ago. My life course, perhaps like some of yours, has not always been straightforward, and serendipity has played a part. My goal, whilst at school, was to become a biology teacher. However, a major life event intervened and I changed direction. At age 16, a critical time for making career choices, while riding my bike home from school, I was in a collision with a car and entered the car via the windscreen, sustaining serious injury, and then spent 2 weeks in hospital. There I observed, close up, nurses doing what I saw as making a difference, and my career plans changed. I decided that I wanted to become a nurse. After school, I began training as a nurse at Guy's Hospital in London. The reason I use the word training is because nursing at that time was not a diploma or degree, but an apprenticeship. In 3 years, there was a total of 26 weeks of theory, and the rest was practical work on the wards, with 4 weeks holiday a year. I enjoyed nursing in the sense of being with patients on a hospital ward. However, I found that I wanted to know more about the rationales underpinning the care we were providing. There was no talk at the bedside in the 1970s of evidence-based care. We provided care, for example, using egg white in oxygen on a pressure ulcer, but did not really know if the patient benefited or not. I found that asking the why questions was not always welcomed, and at this point I began to wonder whether I'd made the right career decision. Then, fortuitously, I met a staff nurse from Manchester. She had studied for a degree in nursing, and this sparked my interest in going to university to study nursing. So I became a nutrition statistic in the hospital programme and began again at the University of Manchester. Manchester was the first university in England to offer an education in nursing. The ideas of evidence-based practice were being developed and promoted in the 1970s in North America and on a smaller scale in the UK. Manchester was at the forefront, and the late Jean Kennedy McFarlane was appointed as the first professor of nursing in 1973. And as you know, our building is named after her. As a student, I had the opportunity to spend time working with the International Red Cross during the Sahelian drought in Niger and West Africa. I soon found myself carrying out procedures which in the UK were strictly medical procedures. I learned, for example, how to rehydrate desperately ill children by placing a tube in the peritoneal cavity. Through these experiences, I gained personal understanding and insight, not only about how care can make a difference, but also how the boundaries of care are essentially situation-specific. In the decades which followed, we have seen many practice boundaries pushed back or disappear, as qualified nurses take on roles such as nurse practitioners with prescribing rights, or specialist midwives or social workers take leading roles in safeguarding children. From my days at Guy's Hospital, or even in Manchester, I could not have foreseen the diversity of career opportunities that would open up for registered health and social care practitioners. These early experiences were instrumental in helping me formulate my views on what is important in professional and personal matters. It was clear to me that it is important to have a goal, but sometimes, for a variety of reasons, it may be necessary to change direction, and change can sometimes bring new and unexpected opportunities. I would like to share some further insights with you. First, while graduation is a very important day, and you will remember it forever, some of you will be feeling sad because it will mean saying goodbye to friends. Others will feel daunted because the structure of the diploma or degree programme is no longer there. However, you will find when you leave here today that it is not the end, but rather the beginning of your future in your chosen profession and in a new stage of life. Second, it's important not to be limited by the present in professional roles, job opportunities, or personal circumstances. The environment in which you live and work will change significantly over your career lifetime. You will have career prospects and experiences which have yet to be thought of. You can also be instrumental in shaping the changes which are to come. You are the future of your respective professions, and always look forward and not back. Third, there is not one sole path to take in work and in any other aspect of life. There are, and will be, many twists and turns as you navigate through your professional and personal lives. While it is important to have goals and plans, it's also important not to rigidly adhere to them, but rather to be flexible and open to new opportunities. Fourth, knowledge is only provisional. What is fairly cutting edge today may be refuted and retired in the future. This is not to be feared, but to be welcomed. Practicing in nursing, midwifery, or social work demands not only a skeptical and sophisticated understanding of different forms and sources of knowledge, but also the rich sources of knowledge which come from social networks, experienced practitioners, and service users' experiences. The effective practitioner recognizes the importance of utilizing all potential sources of knowledge while contributing generously to the knowledge needs of others. Fifth, there is never a perfect time to make a major life change, to have a child, do an advanced degree, or make a lifelong commitment to a partner, or apply for a more senior job, whatever. Waiting for the right time can paralyze you into inertia. Living life to the full entails moving forward and taking risks, whilst adhering to your core beliefs and values, trusting that everything will work out. Finally, it's important to recognize that we arrived where we are today, not just through our own efforts, but also from the network of support structures around us, our parents, partners, and other family members, friends, teachers, and many others in our communities. I encourage you today, as you celebrate the achievement of graduation, to remember and acknowledge these supports in your lives. I would also like to remind you that you are graduating today from the premier school of nursing, midwifery, and social work in the UK. I congratulate you all on your achievement and wish you every success and happiness in the years to come, and sincerely hope that you will keep in touch with the school and the university. Thank you. Vice President, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Paula Beach. Qing Zhu Shen. Jacqueline Collin. And for the degree of Master of Philosophy, Christine Cooper. And for the degree of Master of Arts, Social Work, Anna Kingsley. And for the degree of Master of Clinical Research, Jacintha Jacob. Maya Santosh Nair. Rincy Jassif. And in advanced practice interventions for mental health, Farah Atta. Julie Devlin. Anna Phyllis Hardisti. Maria Mufti. Julia Diane Robinson. Alex Wayne Cotton. Dawn Louise Evans. Natalie Kim Larvin. Claire Mary Ray Moore. Martin Charles Quigley. Tracy Rogers. Helene Louise Strong. And for the degree of postgraduate certificate, Advanced Practice Interventions for Mental Health, Rhiannon Karen. Lucy Joyce. Raphael Carder. Angie Cara. Joanna Eloise Norton. Hannah Trainer. Tanya Warwork. Frances Ann Walton. And for the degree of Bachelor of Midwifery with Honours, Angela Yvonne Todd. And for the degree of Bachelor of Nursing with Honours, Carrie Ann Williams. Anne Madupe, Oi Adeglaken. Annie von Akpan. John Richard Ash. Asha Bibi. Rachel Laura Broadhead. Alison Brown. Catherine Mary Colborne. Victoria Conroy. Emma Jane Cooper. Justin Crabtree. Rachel Louise Dean. Christina Joy Dewhurst. Glenn Lance Ellis. Estelle Rachel Flynn. Michael George Ford. Canisali Nesta Gwitcher. Kerry Jane Hintz. So Sama John. Victoria Kelly. Emma Jane Kilby. Morag Elizabeth McPherson Taylor. Sarah Massey. Vanula Helen McLaughlin. Jeanette Meadowcroft. Carrie Ann Neild. Dominic Page. Sally Parkinson. Tracy Pamela Ray. Daniel Christopher Roberts. Claire Robinson. Deborah Sharp. Anne-Marie Simmons. Niall Teresa Thomas. Rachel Elizabeth Thomas. Hazel Ruth Walker. Agnes Wamuyu. Erica Jane Wilson. Michael James Woodward. And in nursing practice, Joanne Ellis. Heidi Fiona Mullen. Bernadette Stockton. Paula Susan Winston. And in midwifery practice, Helena Vivian Brood. And for the diploma in professional studies in nursing, Tracy Ann Wheeler. Karen Nicholson. Susan Ogazi. Lisa Joanne Kirkham. Jane Mary Keogh. Annie Nyandoro. Rebecca Travis. It's our custom in Manchester to invite people going on the Nursing and Midwifery Register for the first time to say the affirmation. But this year, I'd like to invite all of you who are practicing nurses or midwives to stand to affirm. Can I invite you to stand? I'm going to read the affirmation to you, and then at the end, you reply, "I so affirm." I affirm that I will make the care of patients my first concern, treat every patient politely and considerately, respect patients' dignity and privacy, listen to patients and respect their views, give patients information in a way that they can understand, respect the right of patients to be fully involved in decisions about their care, keep my professional knowledge and skills up to date, recognize the limits of my professional competence, be honest and trustworthy, respect and protect confidential information, make sure my personal beliefs do not prejudice patient care, Act quickly to protect patients from risk if I have good reason to believe that I or a colleague may not be fit to practice. Avoid abuse of my position as a nurse or midwife. Work with colleagues in ways that best serve patients' interests. In all these matters, I will never discriminate unfairly against patients or colleagues. I will always be prepared to justify my actions to them. Now you reply after me, I so affirm. Thank you. Sit down.
On behalf of the university, I'd like to take this opportunity one more time to congratulate all of you who are graduating here today on your achievements and to wish you every success and happiness in the future. I now declare the ceremony closed. You can begin to really enjoy yourselves. Congratulations.